We've got what I think is some positive news on the injury front regarding Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard, and some transfer stuff. Jakub Kiwior is close to a move to Porto. Let's go through all of it. Can't even speak. There's been so much news. Okay, so Gary Jacob at the Times has said that there's a boost regarding Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard's injuries, and that then deemed after early scans not to be as serious as first feared. That's pretty much it. And do you know what? I was actually kind of apprehensive about making a video on this, because there's still so much to learn. Well, what are more scans showing? What do we know in terms of a time frame? We haven't even got that regarding Kai Havertz and Ben White. But with the Kiwior stuff coming out, I thought it was worth doing an update on everything. Now, look, I'm no expert. Bukayo Saka went down holding his hamstring. And then people couldn't quite make out the words he said, because the Sky camera's got quite a good view of him talking to the physio. And we didn't know if he said something like, it feels like cramp, or it's a cramp, or not cramp. Or maybe he didn't say cramp. Some people thought he said something. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. And look, Bukayo Saka wouldn't have known when he went down. Could he? And people were asking, can you get a cramping sensation when it's a pull or a tear? Supposedly you can get that feeling for either. Or could it have been just a very bad case of cramp? I think they'd have been able to have announced that pretty soon. Mikel Arteta himself said that when Bukayo went off, it seemed significant. So that isn't really good. Could this all be mind games ahead of Liverpool? But do we believe he went off like that, only to be fit a week later? I don't really know. But Gary Jacob of the Times has got information, which is kind of weird that one journalist has come in with it and not others. You're waiting for Ornstein's update, you're waiting for Sammy Mockbell, you're waiting for Ben Jacobs, who was actually coming with some other stuff. So, I don't know, it's weird. My feeling on it is great. That's a boost. If it's not as bad as first feared, that's great. But what were they fearing? 3-4 months out with a real tear? And maybe it's only a month out, maybe it's a couple of weeks, I don't know. But whatever it is, Arsenal, take your time, be cautious. We have a lot of squad players. In the absence of Saka, Madueke, Waneri and Dalman, so many options, can all play out there. And then on the left, you've got Eze, Martinelli, Trossard. Like there are options here. We don't need to force anything in particular. I would be astounded if Bukayo Saka was somehow available for Liverpool. I think we can safely say he won't be available for the next month. But if it is only a month, even 6 weeks, I can live with that, because we're talking about the season being affected. Everyone always talks about excuses for Arsenal. I don't think there's any excuse for particular games. Obviously, you want your best players available, but there's a squad there. And a lot of teams will take points at Anfield or beat Liverpool. Not a lot of teams, but teams will this season. And they'll be doing it without Bukayo Saka available. So we should be able to conjure something and be competitive without one of our best players available. But when you're talking about a whole season, then it's your franchise players and your big stars like Bukayo Saka that make the real difference over a whole campaign. And if he misses a month of it, it's not the end of the world. If he's to miss significant periods like 3-4 months, then you're looking at almost half, a third to half the season. So let's hope he's back soon, but the early indications that he's all right. Now, you'll have noticed I've spoken a lot more about Saka there than Odegaard. I want to separate the two, because with Odegaard and the news again from Gary Jacob that scans suggest it's not as bad as first feared, that is kind of expected. So I have a different tone with that. With Odegaard, it was a shoulder injury, it looked like, and he actually played about 15-20 minutes before coming off and then coming back on. And I think with the shoulder injury, or elbow, whatever, I think it was shoulder, I think you kind of know quite quickly whether you've got to come off, because you're constantly moving that part of your body as you're running. And I know you're kind of doing that with every part of your body when playing football, so that might be a stupid thing to say. But I just think if it was really significant, he'd have come off pretty immediately. It felt to me like he tried to give it a go, only to go, you know what, we've got Ethan on the bench, we've got lots of other players, we've got a real squad now, there's no need to force this, let me come off, we're at home to Leeds, they should be able to get the job done. And I think we were leading when he came off anyway. So that I see as a different update, and it wouldn't surprise me if he were fit for Liverpool, which I think we need. Yes, Eze's through the door, yes, we might have better combinations without Martin Odegaard now because of the signings we've made for a particular game like Liverpool away at Anfield, but I would still want Odegaard fit and available. You want your captain, and you want to be able to bed in a player like Eze rather than just chucking him in the number 10 and going, right, done. Because everyone needs to focus on the out of possession play, our press, the understanding of the rotations in midfield. Eze is a very, very talented footballer. He's a brilliant footballer. In the last year, there's no question who's been the better player between him and Odegaard. But there's so much more that goes into getting points and results at Anfield that are beyond just, oh, who's the more talented footballer. So I'm going to want Martin Odegaard absolutely available for this trip to Anfield. And I would say it hangs in the balance whether he is. If he's out, I imagine it's not more than weeks. But, like I said, these are boosts in terms of headline news from Gary Jacob of the Times, very reputable source when it comes to all this stuff. But we obviously hope for real clarification soon. And if there is, I will come with the exact details. But don't expect an update on this channel till we have actual concrete details of time. I don't think there's any point in me coming with another set of updates and rumours from other people. Now, on Porto and this Jakub Kiwior move. So Ben Jacobs has come in and said that there's kind of confidence, basically, this deal will go ahead. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. And it's looking like a loan with an obligation. I don't care if it's a permanent move or a loan with an obligation. The point is, if we, if it is in writing that this deal will get done and money will get paid, I don't care if it's this summer or next summer. It's not my money. We're more looking at the value in which we're letting a player like Kiwior go for. Loan with an option, that would really frustrate me because then we're backing him to go and play really well for another year. I'm also surprised it's Porto. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, big club, very good move in some ways. Also think, he played a lot of his football in Italy, did well there. I just would have thought that his performance in the Champions League, I thought, would have stood out more. And where Palace are looking for maybe a Mark Guehi replacement, could a Jakub Kiwior have been an option there? I think Hand of Arsenal said that Mark Guehi was even considered again by Arsenal, but he doesn't want to play second fiddle to Gabriel and Saliba, which I guess makes complete sense. So apparently he prefers a move away from the Premier League. He doesn't want to play in the Premier League, Jakub Kiwior, and fine, okay, I guess. He's proved he's a good defender. He's proved he can play at this level, but he wants another move where I suppose he wants a guarantee of certain things. And maybe, I don't know, maybe on the ball he'll be more appreciated in a different style of league. I don't really know. But again, it all comes down to the fee here. All comes down to the fee. Whether we get it this summer, next summer, I don't care. Are we getting 25 to 30 million? Now, others are saying they want 35 to 40. And you know what? Actually, that might be what Arsenal should be asking for. I think that's what a Liverpool, a City or a Chelsea would get for a player who's performed as well as Jakub Kiwior in 2025. However, we have to appreciate where we're coming from as a selling club, like the level at which we've sold. And it's very hard to change in one window the perception of how Arsenal sell. And kind of move us too far from where we were. Yes, Andrea Berta's job was to come in and improve how we sell for sure. But if we get to 25 to 30 million, then we've actually made our money back, profited slightly, and sold a good player for a little bit, for a good amount of cash. But the thing is, we paid 20 million for him. If you only get 25, 30, it's like, yeah, okay. And his stock's undoubtedly gone up since he's been at Arsenal. Now, a lot of people think we should be keeping him. I actually kind of agree. However, Arsenal, when they've got assets like this that are sellable and they want to move, I think you've got to take the Pep Guardiola Man City approach and say, okay, fine, off you go. If he goes, I imagine Calafiori becomes the backup centre-back to Gabriel. You've then got Mosquera, you've got Saliba, Declan Rice can drop back, Timber White can all play centre-back too. The question is, do we go get another left-back? Now, there are rumours that Arsenal are looking for more of an overlapping type left-back. Now, I think our window's done. I'll be honest, I think our window is wrapped up. But I think it's another dimension if we were to get, say, an Anthony Robinson from Fulham, who hasn't started their last two games. I'm not sure if that's injury related, but he hasn't started their last two games. I do wonder, do you unlock an Eze if you've got an overlapping powerhouse like Anthony Robinson, who's got a lovely delivery too, bombing up and down the left wing, giving us another dimension there? Problem is, Kieran Tierney was that guy, wasn't he? But we've got to remember the injuries he's had for many, many years before Arteta fully moved on from trusting Kieran. But he kind of was the perfect player in that sense, wasn't he? So, I don't know. Will Arsenal go for a left-back and then redefine Calafiori's place in the squad? But if we do that, Calafiori's going to have to be relied upon quite a little bit because Gabriel himself is only recovering from hamstring surgery. And you've got to think, Gabriel, Havertz, White, who all had surgery last year, have all had setbacks in some way, shape or form going into this season. And what I mean by that with Gabriel, remember he played a friendly behind closed doors and then didn't play a minute on tour. So yeah, there was some kind of setback there, which is strange. Let's hope with Bukayo Saka it's nothing major, and let's hope we can keep these players fit and available. But Jakub Kiwior could be moving and might be the only real significant sale Arsenal have this summer. I know some of you will say, well, Zinchenko's there too. If you keep him, we've got depth. I think we need 9 defenders, not just 8 for 4 positions. But let's see. All right, there's the update, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Hit the like button if you want to know about our new 16-year-old signing from Shamrock Rovers. That update was done earlier today, so go check that out. Catch you in a bit.